Breaking news in what will go down as the longest case in Georgia history. Young Thug is a free man. Kinda. Young Thug has been given time served in the big old YSL RICO case. Let's keep in mind, Thug has been incarcerated since May of 2022. There have been at least 3 judges a part of this case, a multitude of witnesses, lives affected, a multitude of loved ones have passed away since this thing has begun. But here's what you need to know if you don't want all the minute details. The state and the defense tried to negotiate a plea deal and they couldn't agree on it. A deal that would have let Thug come home today, had it been in a plea form, would have been Thug be on probation for 25 years. What Thug ended up getting essentially was a 20-year sentence. It's commuted down to like 5 years. And because he spent 2.5 years straight up and down in jail since this thing began, it's time served. Now, if Thug doesn't successfully serve the first 15 years of probation that he was given without any problems, right? Then Thug will be sentenced to an additional 20 years in prison, period. But there is an opportunity for Thug, instead of 25 years, to be freed off 15 years of probation if he stays away from any problems that could persist. He's got to stay away from Metro Atlanta for the first 10 years. He can come do concerts in Atlanta. He's got to speak to the youth about 4 times a year and promote to them, don't be in a gang. He can come for a funeral, a wedding, or anything that may happen to an immediate family member if they're sick. But for the most part, the judge made it clear to Young Thug, need to be away from the Atlanta area. Enough has happened. He can perform with Gunna, which is what I thought was an interesting tidbit that Thug's attorney wanted. He wanted the permission and the right to perform with Gunna. So that maybe tells you a little bit about where Young Thug and Gunna's relationship is going to go. I'm sure Thug's got a multitude of things to figure out as he's now coming home. But again, the headline today will read, Thug is home now. He's on his way home. I'm shooting this video immediately after the trial concluded. Shout out to the Law and Crime YouTube channel for showing that bad boy live. And again, just a couple other tidbits. I want to say this. I watched a lot of that YSL RICO case, not just the Thug piece to it, but everybody that was involved in it. What a mess. I want to shout out Judge Whitaker for at least trying her darndest to put that thing together as best she could, as multiple judges have been recused from the case. Let me say this. The state, I thought, had a slam dunk case against Thug that could have easily seen him spend the rest of his life in prison. I don't think they did a good job of proving it. I thought it was a mess. I thought the fact that Thug had to stay incarceration for 2.5 years based off the case that I was hearing in court, I thought that was a tad bit ridiculous. Let me play devil's advocate to that though. The thing that helped Thug the most in coming home today was the fact that he was not granted any bond. Keep in mind, he ended up getting time served. So the thing that a lot of people argue was ridiculous for Thug to stay incarcerated actually ended up being one of the things that helped him out the most, which is because he stayed in the whole time, never got a bond, that went into him getting time served, which is why he's going to be a free man today. Just want to put that out in the atmosphere. This thing was a mess. The case was a mess. You had witnesses, you had people agreeing to deals that backed away from things they said mid-court, literally by the day they were changing their stance on certain things, the information that they were given. That thing was a mess. And I do want to put this out there. The state read what they believed to be enough to have Thug do the sentence of their liking, and give her credit. She was very convincing on a lot of the stuff she said. I don't know her name, but she was very convincing the entire time. It took Thug's attorney going in the deepest of bags to refute a lot of that. I thought they both did phenomenal jobs, but be clear, a lot of what was used against Thug was them plea deals. Let's not forget that. Why the defense or the state was able to go up and say certain things was because of them plea deals that were made by other members that were associated at one point in time with YSL, which I don't even know where all it is. I'm curious to see what Young Thug decides to be as a man. Before we even talk about the music aspect of it, who Thug will be as a man coming out of all of this. And then once you get it down to the music element, he's got some restrictions, y'all. Like, there's some certain things he can kind of finagle with. You know, we've seen artists in the past finagle with certain things, but let's be clear. Thug is going to have to change his life, his career as we know it. It's never going to be the same. He's lost a lot of people. I don't even know what the heck is going, what the YSL thing, that's got to be a music label just only for real this time. Cause that judge has made it clear it would be nothing for her to have Thug finish out 40 years is what he would get. 40 years of sentence if he violates this probation. All right, so that's kind of like the gist of it. A lot happened. What you need to know is there was no plea deal that was agreed upon. So Thug actually pled guilty, despite his attorney saying, I believe in 3 months, if you will stay incarcerated for 3 more months and let this case play out, I could beat it. But who knows how many times Thug heard throughout this case and that trial that it's only going to be another month. It's only going to be another 2 months. What Thug's attorney said in the courtroom, which I thought was very telling, was that Thug believes he's living in hell. His health was deteriorating. And I don't know exactly. They didn't specify exactly what Thug's dealing with, but something with Thug's health was needs attention, needs some medical attention. His kids are struggling. That's via the attorney, right? There are a multitude of things that Thug considered and not even playing this thing out. He could have played it out in 3 more months and been an innocent man completely and had no probation, right? But clearly Thug didn't like the plea because of the years of probation, 25 years. And he was confident enough to agree on some of what the state recommended for him. He's going to have to give away a lot of money to charity. Thug said, I did that anyway. And by the way, hearing Thug speak, hearing Jeffrey Williams, the man, speak was really good to hear, right? Like, Jeffrey Williams spoke today, not Young Thug. He spoke on his behalf and asked the judge for any type of leniency possible. And, you know, Young Thug has never been a good speaker. I don't think he would ever admit that. But, you know, he's probably clean. He admitted to being on drugs a lot of part of his life. He admitted to having a big heart, which is one of the reasons why he kind of felt himself in that situation, was his big heart and not knowing certain things and how big of a deal he was. And it impacted these kids and impacted YSL and impacted Atlanta, right? So, like, hearing him speak was refreshing, because I feel like we heard Jeffrey Williams and not Young Thug speak, and he didn't seem to be, you know, he seemed to be clean, right? Like, so that was a great thing to hear, and that's where things stand. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, right? It was nearly 3 years ago when the Georgia District Attorney, Fonnie Willis, took her to a podium and said they about to clean up Atlanta. And she said one of the ways that they were going to do it is by handing out RICO cases. Knowing what you know now, i.e. the YSL RICO case being the biggest one, right? Do you think the state was successful? A lot of time has been lost. A lot of things have happened. I'm sure relationships will never be the same again. Let me know your thoughts. Young Thug's a free man. Time, love, and support is what your boy never take for granted. I'm out. Right now, I'm offering you a special way to support your boy FERRO. If you enjoy my great quality content I put out every single day, make sure you cop a Facebook supporter badge or a YouTube membership. The prices start as low as $3.99 to show your boy that you support the grind. Tap in right now and join a special community of those that support your one and only, yours truly, FERRO.